Ultimate Battles, Godzilla vs. Ancalagon the Black. This episode pits two of the scariest giant monsters in fiction against one another, the king of the Kaiju and the most powerful dragon in Middle-earth. Godzilla attack power. As the king of the monsters, this guy never ceases to impress. He measures 161 meters tall and weighs in around 100,000 tons, so it makes sense that he would be able to deal out some serious punishment. He can attack at incredible speed, knocking supersonic missiles out of the air, and can use heat breath that's basically a carpet bombing. He can also utilize a nuclear pulse, which is an omnidirectional radiation blast that can destroy a small city, and in Godzilla 2014 he was seen using crazy laser breath to defeat skyscraper-sized mutants. He's your above-average dinosaurian kaiju with everything that is implied. Perhaps his most impressive feat is proving himself a physical equal to one hand of the Marvel god of thunder, Thor. Ancalagon attack power. The lore says nothing about how strong his damage capabilities were, except that he would be unable to destroy the One Ring. That doesn't mean a whole lot, since the ring was nearly indestructible. We can, however, get a fair idea of his attack ability by scaling up from Smaug the Golden, who was able to destroy the cities of Dale and Laketown with the force of his physical strikes and flaming breath. In order to accurately scale that, however, we need to figure out how big Ancalagon really was. When he was killed, he destroyed the mountain range Thangorodrim by falling on it. There were three main peaks in this mountain fortress, and according to a scale drawing by Tolkien, they were about 35,000 feet tall each. So Ancalagon had to be big enough to A, land on the whole mountain range, and B, crush it under his sheer weight. The three peaks of Thangorodrim measured nearly 150 miles across, even clumped together. Before researching the lore for this video, I'd heard about the scale map, but had never actually seen it, and that was when I came up with this image. But after seeing the map, and realizing just how massive Thangorodrim really was, I clearly needed to recalculate. This is what I came up with after running more accurate numbers. Smaug, in the Hobbit movies, was about 230 feet long, so through virtue of sheer dimensions, Ancalagon, over 3,000 times Smaug's size, had fire breath that could deal damage roughly equal to a nuclear megaweapon and physical strength that comes naturally from being half the size of Scotland. And we can't forget the other abilities that all of Tolkien's legendary dragons share: sharp intelligence and powerful mind control. Godzilla durability. One of the classic images of Godzilla is him rampaging through, insert coastal city here, shrugging off bullets and missiles as if they were specks of dust. But his endurance goes even further. He took a hit to the face from one of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s most powerful laser cannons and then destroyed it. He also survived his head being frozen solid by Iceman of the X-Men, and he's taken hits from Space Godzilla crystals, which originated from black holes. So yeah, Godzilla can take a ridiculous beating. Is there any way that Ancalagon, as big as he is, could outlast the king of the monsters? Well, here's Ancalagon's durability. It took 24 hours of blasting from a Silmaril to kill him. The power level of a Silmaril can be calculated pretty simply. Each of the jewels contained the combined energy of the two trees of Valinor. Each fruit of Lauderlin was equal to a sun, and each fruit of Telperion was equal to a moon. They are described as being similar to beech trees in the Silmarillion. According to ResearchGate.net, there's a yield of at least 10 pounds per beech per fruitful harvest. There are usually 1,600 beech nuts per pound, leading to an average estimate of 16,000 fruits per tree. So one blast from a Silmaril is equal to 16,000 suns and 16,000 moons crashing into you at the same time. Ancalagon was hit more than once, obviously, since it took until just before sunrise to finish him off, but how many times was he hit? Assuming a very slow fire rate of 1 time per minute, which is unlikely, given that Arindil was a highly skilled elf warrior, he would have been hit 1,440 times. What is more likely is that blasts were not involved, since the Silmarils often just destroyed evil by being present in the environment and letting the light of the trees do the rest. So the damage inflicted by the jewel would have been constant. Perhaps an equivalent firing rate would be 1 per second. That brings the exposure number up to 86,400, or equal to 1,382,400,000 supernovae accompanied by the same number of moon-level impacts. So this basically means that Ancalagon could take an explosion capable of destroying well over 1 billion solar systems. So the math seems to lean pretty heavily in the favor of Ancalagon. He has a fair edge in attack power, particularly considering his mind control abilities, but his levels of endurance are completely out of Godzilla's league. The fight would likely destroy whatever planet they were fighting on, but it took a Silmaril to kill Ancalagon, and there's nothing really that Godzilla could do to him. Of course, that's assuming that the king of the monsters would register as more than an insect. He would be fighting a dragon more than 2,000 times his size, after all.
Created using Powtoon.